Hey, look at that. You figured out the internet.
I figured out the internet. I'm so sorry.
You and Al Gore.
Yeah, you know, we started out together. I just took a detour. I'm so sorry.
All right, hold on. I got to go back to where we were because like I had this whole thing ready for you to start and like, and then hold on. Okay, so because it's your favorite song. Because I heard that this is your, I don't know where I heard that, but I heard from somebody that this is your favorite song. You want me to turn it off or you want me to keep playing it? It's up to you. I like it ended.
Thank you.
Hi, Robyn. How you doing?
Hi, Brian. I'm doing great now.
You know, I invite you to like do this thing on a week. You're like doing your grand reopening for your store. You're like trying to make chocolate like crazy. You have a soft opening yesterday and you sell out. And I'm like, sure, let's chat this week. What do you think? And you say yes, because you can't say no.
I can't say no. I've never been able to say no to you.
I'm just a girl that can't say no. Is that how that one goes?
I do not know that song, but
I'll find that later. I'll send it to you personally.
Okay, thanks.
She's just a girl that can't say, I don't know. I think it's a show tune.
That would explain. I grew up in Iowa. We don't have show tunes.
They did the Music Man every summer at the
Oh,
State
yes.
Fair.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is
Actually,
the show tune.
Does the Music Man take place in Iowa? I actually don't know.
Yes. Yes.
I just know stuff that I don't know. Anyway, so thanks everybody for joining us. We're talking with Robyn Dochterman from the St. Croix Chocolate Company in Marine on St. Croix, Minnesota. A chocolatier that we're going to hear the story in a minute, but you've been around a little more than 10 years, if memory serves me. And
very good.
Robyn and I got to know each other because Robyn is a Selmy adopter and literally adopted a Selmy. And that's how we got to know each other. She and her partner flew out and trained with us here in Buffalo in like, I don't know, 2010, 2011, something like that. Been a long time.
Something like that.
And I've actually been to her shop twice, I think, 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been here twice, so we're even. So I don't know who's up. I think it might be my turn to come back out.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I'm not allowed on an airplane though at the moment. Like,
yeah, I know.
Company policy, I'm not allowed on an airplane at the moment. So anyway, but not unlike a lot of people in the chocolate business these days, you don't have a traditional confectionery background. You started in a totally different industry and ended up in chocolate. So I'd love to hear some of that story. And the good news is, because you were worried about like being on for as long as you were, you only have like 30 minutes now.
I'll keep it short.
Cool.
So I had a career in journalism. I was the last 13 years of which I was a web editor for the Star Tribune daily newspaper out of Minneapolis. It was very entrepreneurial. We were just discovering the internet and figuring out how to make it work for us. And I love that. I worked with a great group of people. But newspapers and recessions...
Irony, you couldn't make the internet work today.
Because we had IT people, I just made content.
Okay, I was just,
I was a specialist.
Got it.
And they have big fiber optic lines, T1s and T3s and...
I don't know what's wrong with my head. Sorry, yeah. Like I'm like worried because like I've like gotten all like washed out, and I'm like just like I'm aghast about how awful I look. There we go.
That's better.
Hold on. You know what? We're going on the move today. It's Chocolatier chat. This Chocolatier chat has gone totally off the rails, by the way. So I'm on the move. Okay, hold on. You tell your story. I'm just going to grab my water. I'll be right back.
Okay, bye, Brian. So I was a journalist, and I love being a journalist. I got to do all kinds of really cool multimedia stuff, but journalism and recessions don't go very well together. So when the recession in 2008 hit, the paper started laying people off, and I knew I was ready to do something else. I wanted to do something in food, and I said, yes, pay me to leave. I like that. So they did. And I started a mission to discover what I wanted to do in food. And I thought it was going to be bread. I loved making bread. I went and took some professional bread classes. And somewhere along the line, I discovered that if you are the entry level person in bread, you get up at 4 a.m. or you're at work at 4 a.m. And I already had a career, and the window of opportunity to get up at 4 a.m. had kind of closed for me. So I couldn't convince the entire industry that fresh bread should be in the afternoon, not in the morning. So I thought maybe
Go figure.
cheese would be good. Are you good there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the full moon.
Let's blame the full moon.
So like today, again, I'm now like, I have this really comfy chair. I can't sit in it. And I'm sorry to interrupt your story, but I'm all aghast about, like how washed out I was. And,
I know. It was, you were kind of ethereal.
Yeah.
Ephemeral. I don't know. Something.
Pulmonary? I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, you wash out of bread.
I washed out of bread. I tried cheese. It was all chemistry. I'm like,
you were trying to make cheese?
Yeah, I went to official cheese class and spent a week, and it was great, but it was all chemistry. And I'm like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, because there's no science in chocolate, because there's no chemistry in chocolate whatsoever. It's
but
straight,
here's the thing with chocolate. It's just like journalism. You respect the science, you respect the facts, and then you can be as creative as you want to be. It was a perfect fit. And I never looked back.
But that's not cheese. Okay, so bread's kind of like that too, right? I mean, bread really is, there are rules, and if you follow the rules, generally the same things happen. I mean, there's some nuance there, and bread people would take umbrage with what I just said, but I mean, and that's the stick for pastry in general, right? I mean, the shtick on pastry is that like pastry people are persnickety and they do things a certain way, and like they can't improvise, which isn't entirely true, right? I mean, it's not. But so the problem with bread was just the hours.
It was just the hours. I was in my 40s. I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. every day.
Okay, so we wash out of bread, we go to cheese, and we can't do cheese because it's like too much science.
Not just science, but chemistry.
Okay, so it's too much chemistry.
It's little molecules all stuck together.
But why was it? But why was it food? Like what was it about food? Like why did you know that you wanted to be in food?
I had been growing a huge organic garden and raising bees and moving that whole direction as kind of the whole world moved that direction. And I wanted more of it.
And so but had you already? I mean, so I do know part of your story. I mean, but so had you left the cities at this point? Had you already moved to Marine at this point, or were you still in the cities?
Yes.
Like trying to figure this out.
So I was a South Minneapolis girl, and we moved out to the country. We decided maybe instead of going and hiking out in this beautiful countryside and then coming back to the city, what if we lived in the country and drove to the city every now and then? So I suddenly had tons of space, a giant garden. I was making jam and jelly faster than I could buy up jars. It was like me buying all the jars.
And I know this too. I mean, you call your house now the Farmette. I mean, is that where you were? Had you moved from the cities to that place right away, or did that kind of happen? Okay,
so I commuted back into the paper for a year and then abandoned that and said, we're getting chickens, we got bees, we're doing the country life thing.
My friends, if I said this, would tell me I was having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, which is cool. I mean, I'm not, no disrespect.
I could not argue with them.
I mean, but you needed to do something different. And so there's this burgeoning food thing going on inside you. And it kind of, I mean, culturally too. I mean, I think food was changing 10, 15 years ago. We were looking at more, I hate to say it, farm to fork. We were not just, Applebee's was falling out of favor, probably even in the cities to a certain degree.
Yep. And I grew up out in the country. So I grew up picking wild black raspberries and making my own pickles, and that was all natural to me. I didn't know that was cool. I didn't know that was, revolutionary in terms of food. I just knew that's how we did it. So it's kind of a coming home to me too.
Right. So anyway, so you wash out of cheese.
I wash out cheese.
Which is which is a term too. I mean, because you wash your cheese, and
Yeah.
and so, I mean, how was chocolate next? Did chocolate win?
I went to culinary school, and I made it one quarter before I realized it was a bunch of 18-year-old guys like chasing each other around, trying to squirt each other with olive oil and.
Tread lightly.
Yeah. Okay. I decided during that time I took a chocolate class at the French pastry school in Chicago, and everything changed. I went with Deidre, who was my partner. She's like, let's make a couple of recipes. Okay, that's good. Let's go out to dinner. That's not how they do it there. It's an all-day class. You make chocolate, you make chocolate, you make chocolate. I was happy. I'm doing this. And then I sort of tumbled into this little house in Marine. And thanks to the recession, it was available very cheap. And I'm like, okay, I have a chocolate shop. I guess the universe thinks I should do this. Who am I to question the universe?
Oh, God, I know you. You question the universe all the time.
So I bought this Sell Me sight unseen off the internet, and then I started looking for who knew how to run this thing.
Thanks. But I mean, how long from that class until you made that decision? Like, was that like 6 months? Was it like 6 hours? Was it, like, hey, we got back to Minnesota and we're buying the shop?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was probably a year. So, you do the thing where you make chocolates at Christmas and you give them to all your friends. They say that's wonderful. Well, I wanted to test whether that was an actual business possibility.
Right.
And so I was looking for a place to rent. And things just fell into place. So that might have been 2009. We bought the building at the end of that year. Opened 6 months later. I go to class.
So you're formulating,
and then
you're formulating in your dining. I mean, you're formulating in your kitchen at home. You're like giving chocolates to all your friends. I mean, like, so you became the most popular woman in Marine.
Pretty much, yeah. Chocolates is the best way in the world to make friends.
But you also spent a little time working with somebody in the cities too, from my understanding, right? I mean,
I did. I wanted to see if I could do chocolate on a day-to-day basis. So I worked a Christmas season at an established chocolatier, and the entire business side was new to me, and so that was kind of eye-opening. Some things I thought, yes, I want to do that way, and some things I thought, oh heck no, I want to do something different.
Yeah, I mean again, full disclosure, the first time we met here when you were learning how to use some equipment, and then the second time we met, I was doing some consulting for a chocolate company, and you graciously let me come and visit you, and actually buy some chocolate for me, which was kind of nice. And then the next time was I had my own consulting business, and you invited me out to spend 2 or 3 days with you guys. And, I think I only made you cry once in those 3 days. It felt very prophet-like, if you don't make somebody cry, you're doing a not so good job consulting. But, that was kind of what struck me, that you were never in it about, for some reason you felt you needed to open a business, but you weren't in it to be a business person.
To be profitable.
Well, I hope you've turned that corner on that, but but yeah, we had some really frank conversations about, Robyn, that doesn't make sense. Like that's a bad idea. If you want to be here in 5 years, you're going to have to make some changes. And you kind of looked at me and were like, no, Brian, no, I'm not changing that. you know, and I don't know if I was right or you were wrong. I mean, but business conversations were hard for you at least early on because you weren't in it
Very.
for a business.
No, I was in it because I had this creative drive and it needed an outlet, and because I could. So let's see what happens. And you're absolutely right. The business side, I was clueless, and I don't think I had any idea at that point how fortunate I was to get connected with somebody like you who could spell it out to me and say, you can't do creative stuff 95% of the time and just do, you know, the workhorse stuff 5% of the time. Flip that.
Somebody's got to do it. I mean, I think it could have been you, right? I mean, you could be the creative director, right, for SCCC. But if you're going to be the creative director, you can't be head of accounting too. I think that might have been what and I might not have said it so gently, which is why you cried. I think what I did was I insulted one of your employees and I said they needed to go.
Oh yeah, because she wasn't really a chocolate employee. You were coming, so I was doing something nice for her and letting her, you know, hang out with the Chocolate Rockstar.
I didn't know that, and so
I know you didn't.
She's not very talented. She doesn't work very hard. Maybe you should find somebody that either works really hard or is super talented. I don't care which one.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should do the work yourself if you're doing it anyway.
Yeah, she was great at sales.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
But I mean, somewhere along the way, I mean, 10 years down the road, it's not a hobby anymore, right? I mean, if it was a hobby initially, it ceased to be a hobby, and it's now, I mean, a certain person in your life quit their job that came to work for you. So now the entire revenue from the household has to come from the company, right?
Yep.
I mean, so at that point, you've got to make some money, in theory, unless the buyout package from the paper was that good. In which case, I'm going into journalism, and then.
What you told me that really stuck with me is that you got to do the stuff that brings in the money first, and then do the special creative stuff. And I needed to do more of the creative stuff than you wanted me to do business-wise. So I always listened to you, and sometimes I followed you, and
sometimes you don't. And most of the time you don't. Well,
and sometimes I don't.
And I don't take that personally.
You tried to talk me out of.
Which? The pizza
You tried
place?
to talk me out of a project.
Only because I was insulted that you didn't ask me to like consult on it. That was why I tried to talk you out of it.
No, you told me to do the math basically.
Right. And I think those are the things that, I mean, I think that I'm learning doing this project, right? This project we've been doing since the middle of March, and I've had the opportunity to talk to, you know, March, April, May, June, July, August, 20
See, look
some.
at you doing the math now.
20 some chocolatiers, right? And they've ranged from, you know, people that are bigger than you, you know, that have a wider footprint from you. And, you know, we've talked to some people from Australia, and we've talked to a couple of bean to bar manufacturers, and we've talked to Peter Grueling, and we've talked to all that stuff. And I think I've always known it, that like, we're not successful simply because we make really great product, right? Which is important. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm never going to tell you that making great product isn't important. I'm never going to say that, because I believe in food. But if we don't run a good business, we're not going to be around very long. And I may have said it to you, if you want a hobby, I can give you a hobby that costs 30 grand a year. Right? I can give you, like, you want, you know, you can go sail, right? I can get you, you know, we can get you a boat on the Great Lakes, and you can sail for more than 30 grand a year. But, you know, you have responsibilities, you know, I mean, those chickens aren't going to get fed by themselves. Maybe they are.
That's right. That's right. So I finally come around to much closer to your original guidance.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what else I've noticed is, like, you're actually talking. I think the first time we like talked, like, you sat there very kind of like very, very Midwestern and very like deferral to anything that anybody else would say. And like, I'm like, that's cool. I walked away and you kept talking. Like, I heard you. Like, I was using my earbuds and I was on the other side of the room. And you're like, I'll tell the story. What the hell?
I do what I'm told. Well, not really, but.
No, but I mean, I think I think what's cool is at St. Croix Chocolate Company, you've developed a voice there, both in the flavors that you've created and how you run a business. And you definitely have some chutzpah about like decisions that you've made. I mean, and I've referenced it, but you guys decided to go buy the restaurant half a block over and make pizza for 2 years, 3 years?
5.
Wow. Holy crap, man. Right. I mean, and that like, you were complaining about bread and hours. You ran a restaurant. Like, you probably were working 80 hours a week and like you didn't see each other.
Pretty much true, but some things grow organically, and I'm a risk taker. I'm willing to let them see where they go. I saw where it went. It became a choice between, doing chocolate or managing a pizza staff. And as soon as I realized we can't do both, the choice was easy. So we sold that building. We came back here being the production shop. Would you like to see the production shop?
Which you just remodeled, right? Like, okay, so when I was there,
yep,
there was this little shop, and it was a house. It had been a house, right? Like a little tiny house.
Yep.
And there was a garage with a garage door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so the garage was a garage that was full of stuff, like my garage, but full of like boxes and like electrical equipment and things. And then there was this retail section that was 5 feet, 5 by 4, like 20 square feet. And you probably had like 400 square feet of production. Is that fair? Maybe
that's
5.
About right.
There was an office, which you straightened up for us, by the way. I'm really impressed. And a bathroom.
Yes.
And everybody worked kind of like this.
Yes.
But
so
sure, we'll
I
take a tour.
solved that. I got rid of everybody else, so now I have all that space to myself.
Well, you're not hiring people and bringing them in just so that you're trying to impress me. That's good.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so how many people? Okay, so it's you, Deirdre.
Yeah.
Who runs kind of the front of house, right?
Yeah.
So you run the kitchen. She runs the front of house.
Right now, that's it.
Is that how it is at home too?
Yeah, it is.
I won't tell. We won't tell anybody. There's only like 20 people watching. We're good. I bet you we won't get more than like 500 hits on this by the end of the week. We're good. So there's the two of you, and then do you have anybody else helping these days, or is it just are you doing everything?
Not right now. We're doing everything. We'll bring in some sales help around Christmas, and if I'm lucky and play my cards right, I'll get some dishwashing help. So, but if it's chocolate, I make it. If it's caramel, I make it.
And then the elephant in the room: how bad was COVID? I mean, you were obviously transitioning into back into this space with some construction. I mean, were you doing anything during the time for the last 6 months? That's a bad question. You were doing. I mean, I understand you were doing a lot of stuff, but like sales wise, were you doing anything at all?
Easter and Mother's Day, the transition to online. I mean, we were very fortunate. We already have a e-commerce set up. It's functional. We like it. It went nuts. So the initial shift was from in-person to online. Didn't make any difference for me. It's just making chocolate. And we knew we had to do this remodeling. I thought it would take a month. And because of COVID, the way that it hurt us is I wanted commercial doors. Well, you can't get them. You can't get the estimator out here. The supply chains are messed up.
Right.
They'll tell you 2 weeks and it's 8 weeks. And I'm like, I got to make some money. And they're like,
Look at
Sorry.
you! Look at you! That makes me so proud. You saying I have to make some money makes me so happy. It makes me happy right here. Way down deep inside.
You done good, Brian. You grew me up good.
Okay, so I mean, but eventually, I mean, you did get a construction guy to work on the project, and you got somebody in.
Yes, we cobbled together a number of people, called in friends, said, I know you're busy with a big job. Can you please, please, please do this? And can I walk you over there and show you?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I don't know. Are you going to drop me? Is the internet going to keep working? I mean, you're going to walk away from the.
Okay. I'm glad you found each other. Can you see that?
Wow! Look at that.
Hi, Brian. Hello,
Hey.
chocolate people.
Wow! Double doors. Wow.
Double doors. Double doors. The COVID world. So there's the case at the moment.
Wow. You should probably get off the phone and make some more chocolate.
Yeah. So these nice cabinets we had to drive to Chicago and back in one day to get because they were out of them at our IKEA. You want to see the rest of the
they
shop?
will ship. IKEA ships, you know.
They don't ship. They're behind because of COVID, so it was going to be mid-September.
Got it. Okay, sorry.
I just don't have that kind of time. Hey, this is for Carrie, who was nice enough to talk with you at the beginning of this. So
It's an easy temper.
it's an easy temper. Can you see it? No,
Yeah,
not really,
we
huh?
saw it. Well, we couldn't, but we did. It was there a second ago, so.
There it is.
No, it's there.
It's there.
It's right there. Good job.
So thank you, Carrie. Thank you for making such a wonderful, useful, quick production tool. So this is the rest of my production space. Should look pretty much the same to you.
It looks a lot the same.
I'm going to walk you over here to show you some stuff I'm excited about.
Cool.
So,
Hey, so while we're doing that, so a question I ask everybody. So you talked about being creative and all that stuff. What's the piece that you thought everybody was going to love that nobody liked?
that's really hard.
Why? Because there were so many of them, or because they've all been like winners?
So I love to make stuff you can't see anywhere else. Okay, so and I use these molds from Italy. They're silicone molds, and they're very time consuming, and I love to put them together. And there's no way I can sell them for what I put into them time-wise. So I think they're gonna wow people. And I spend all this time on them, and people are like, yeah, that's nice, but that's $75. Can I just have some like truffles? And that's fine, but you know, that's like the knife in the heart to me. So I've had to learn you make small things. People still have a budget.
How many different pralines are in the case right now? Like how many different flavors are there?
There's only probably 14 right now. I'm about to add a few more.
Is there anything that's there all the time?
Yeah, there are things that are staples. You can't have a chocolate shop without sea salt caramel. Peanut butter is very, very, popular.
What's your number one? What's the number one thing in the case?
I feel so dumb saying this, but it's probably sea salt. You just can't argue with it. You could put a regular hand-rolled truffle in, and people will go nuts over it. I can make beautiful Thai with lemongrass and kaffir lime and stuff, and that's for me. I feel good if I can get people to try that and go, oh, that's nice.
Right.
But it's for me. So.
Okay, so which one in there right now, you get to eat one. Which one do you eat?
Oh, I'm going for 75% dark. It's always been my favorite. What?
Like three ingredients, you're in.
3 ingredients plus cognac. It's Palais d'Or, not Dior. Palaior, basically with a lot more cognac in it. And it's intense and it's lovely and it's always been my favorite.
Hey, so you got complimented on your space. Somebody said nice space.
Nice space. Thank you. I appreciate that. So can I show you my caramel?
Yeah, we can definitely. We'll see your caramel. That sounds a little provocative.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Can I show you my caramel? Hey, is it caramel or is it caramel?
It's caramel here in the Midwest. So I'm very excited about this. This was a COVID project. So I think, oh, we should jar our own caramel sauces. And I finally worked with the designer to make nice labels and, you know, barcodes and the whole nutrition label thing. And so I feel like, God, COVID sucked and being closed all summer sucked, but oh my, there are things on the horizon that are really, really cool.
Like
There's
a new shop?
caramel sauce. What?
Like a new shop in Carmel.
Like, yeah, a new shop and caramel, and we got a delivery van, so we're going to take the chocolate to the people of the Twin Cities, and we're just looking at different channels and different ways. If people can't come into the shop, I gotta get chocolate in their hands. So
you're about an hour from the cities, right? I mean,
yeah, 45 minutes an hour.
And so is it delivery direct to consumer or delivery to other wholesale retail type establishments?
What we're going to try to do is sort of a CSA model where there are designated stops throughout the Twin Cities, and people will order online and then be able to just go pick it up basically in their neighborhood.
Oh, cool.
So we'll see how that goes. Could go the way of pizza. We just don't know.
But you'll then be driving around in the St. Croix Chocolate Company van for however long the lease is.
Well, we bought it, so
well, of course you did, and you're gonna, no matter what, you're gonna keep it forever because if memory serves you, you finally got rid of the 20-something-year-old truck like in the last 6 months.
Yeah, God, I hated to see that go, but
well, what was wrong with it? What was wrong with it?
I'd drive down the highway and parts would rust off, and I'd have to stop the truck and go pick them up. And
got it.
Yeah,
you definitely are from Iowa.
I am from Iowa. Yeah.
Hey, so speaking of Iowa, so like I was talking to somebody today that was talking about that they grew up on a farm in California, and they were saying that they were one of 8 kids and that they didn't really develop a food culture. And this guy's a food scientist, and he didn't develop the food culture until he went away to college, because really when you grow up on a farm, the last one, I forget how he put it, the last fast, like, so the last one to the dinner table gets nothing. But what's an early food memory for you? Like, you've talked about all these adventures that you wanted to do food, but like, what's that first food memory or that first chocolate memory from when you were younger?
This is uncool, but I really don't have a strong chocolate memory. We didn't get a lot of sweets. But we were always connected to the food. You know,
Right.
My mom would make 100 quarts of pickles, and my job would be to go out and get the wild grape leaves that go on the top of each quart of pickles. And then, how uncool is this? I would take a pickle wrapped in foil every day in my lunch to school. So
Sounds cool to me. I mean, that's the thing about food too. Like, I ask him about chocolate memories and sweet memories, but I think that food is so visceral for everyone, right? Like Christina, my wife, you know, the heritage is Panamanian, and it's a very different experience thing than how I grew up, right? But we both have distinct food memories that take us back, like in a minute, you know, like stupid stuff. Like for my birthday this year, she got me a case of the green relish from Vienna beef for my hot dogs, right? Because that's a food memory for my time in Chicago, and it's important to me, right?
absolutely.
Who needs a case of neon green relish? I do.
And nobody, yeah, and nobody else makes that neon green relish. That's very Chicago. That puts the flag exactly in that
And
spot.
it doesn't taste any different than the Wegmans relish that we buy, but like, and I haven't been able to get, like, I normally, like, one of my stops, I fly into Midway because there's a hot dog place at the airport that I can buy a jar of relish and I bring it home. And it's like $8 and I don't really care, right? A jar of relish in my
Right.
grocery store is 89 cents. And I think it's cool that the memories are pickles. Like, it doesn't really matter what that is. It's about those things that are important. And I'm sure, you know, in your house, there's probably stuff about growing up on Long Island that's food centric and that's important. And I don't know what they have on Long Island that's food important because it's kind of a wasteland. But
I'm telling her you said that.
she probably heard me. She's watching on Instagram. But so like this person that's putting in my husband's family recipe calls for meats off an unsprayed cherry tree. And I'm assuming that's to top the jar of pickles, right? That's cool. Like that you guys are connected. You guys are now connected. And it's cool to be, I mean, as much as we talked about business, I appreciate the fact that your connection to your ingredients is more important than the business side. I just want you to be successful, and you got to be successful if you're connected to the business side somehow, right?
You are absolutely right. And one of the things that I've really come to love is how do you take, obviously it would be hard to do with pickles or neon green relish, but how do you take the things that mean something to people food-wise? How can I interpret that in chocolate for them? So for me, I talked about the wild grapes. I go out and pick the ones that are in my yard in my neighborhood. I make my own jelly, and then I put it with peanut butter. It's peanut butter and jelly. That, you know, for 80-90% of Americans, that's a pretty strong connection. But I can put my local spin on it and my connection in it.
Hey, when I come out, you got to pick the wild strawberries because I'm a strawberry jelly and peanut butter guy. I'm not a grape jelly and peanut butter guy.
Oh, okay.
Grape jelly is so pedestrian.
Yeah, but wild grape jelly is really cool.
Then think how cool wild strawberry jelly would be.
Wild strawberries, man, you'd have to pick a whole bunch of them.
You would, but that would be awesome.
I'm back.
They could be like limited edition.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that.
Okay, so Robyn, you guys travel all the time. Like, you guys are always in Chicago. Like, you told me you went to Chicago for the day doesn't impress me. You go to Chicago like because you want like lunch, right? I mean, COVID's had to be kind of hard on you because you haven't been able to travel. Like, you guys are on the road all the time.
I have a short attention span, so what I had to do was do a bunch of projects at home. So yeah, so as long as I'm busy, as long as I'm chasing a vision, I'm good. I've also learned to I took Melissa Koppel's class on vegan chocolates, which was very cool. That's new for me. So I don't have a passion for it yet, but I can now act. I wouldn't go to Las Vegas for it, but hey, I get to sit at home and have this great information come to me. Oh, I could like that. So it's just a little shift. I miss traveling, but I travel in my head plenty.
Hold on, let me write that one down.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back. Okay, so you've paid attention. You've seen a couple of these, right? You've tuned in once or twice to like, okay, so you know what the question, it's coming because it's the question I ask everybody. So
Okay.
You're driving the old truck, the one with the piece is falling off. So the piece falls
Yep.
off. You pick up the piece. You realize you're in front of a convenience store, whatever that convenience store is in Marine. I think it's a general store. It's around the corner.
It is.
Do you still have an account? Can I still walk in and just put stuff on Robyn's account?
Yeah. Yes, it's my phone number.
Perfect.
You don't even have to sign anymore.
Put that on Robyn's account. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, if I'd known that, I would have gotten like a couple of quarts of oil and a fishing rod. But which they
They
have.
do have everything.
Yeah, everything. So you grab a bottle of water and you're like headed back to the registers up at the front, and you're in the candy aisle, the mass confection aisle.
Okay.
You decide you need a snack. You're picking one item. What is it? You know, when I asked this question to Bill Brown, hold on, when I asked this question to Bill, he pulled it out. Like, he pulled out the candy bar and said, I knew you were going to ask this question, so it's a payday. So, yeah, it's got to be one item, confection.
Well, Bill is prepared and I am not. So I wouldn't eat a candy bar, but you know those little wafer things? They've got frosting and then a wafer and then frosting.
That's a cookie. If you'd said Kit Kat bar that that's inside of, I would have given you that because that's my favorite. But no, you got to pick, like, I don't know, Snickers, Milk Duds, Sour Patch Kids. Come on, you got to give me one. You got to give me one. Come on, you're at the movie theater. You buy the big tub of popcorn and the large Diet Coke. That so you're, and it comes with one candy item. When you buy the big package like that, what candy item do you get?
Yeah. So what's comes in a brown wrapper, it's brickle, what the heck is that?
Oh, whatchamacallit?
No, but I do like those. It's
we're getting close. Keith bar.
Yeah. Keith bar.
That's an answer. Thank you, Robyn. Thank you. You show up late and you can't give me a candy. You show up late and you can't give me a candy bar. But whatever. That's why we love you. All right. I don't know. Okay, here's your opportunity to plug whatever you want. So you can plug the caramel sauce, but you never showed us the caramel sauce. But we only have like 2 minutes.
I never showed you the caramel sauce?
No. We tried talking and then we got sidetracked.
Well, it's really cool caramel sauce, and I love this time of year because one of the things when I was first learning chocolate, everybody was airbrushing, and I didn't have an airbrush yet, and if I did, I was scared of the air compressor. So I learned how to do some cool things with cocoa butter that I don't see a lot of other people do. So I learned to take stamps, like foam stamps, and dip them in cocoa butter and stamp. And if I can figure out how to do this, which I don't know.
What are you trying to do? Turn the camera around? It's the two little arrows up in the corner.
Is it two little arrows up in the corner? I don't know. Which corner?
Well, it's in the top left corner on mine.
Oh, okay.
See, now they're bringing up the Caramel Palooza story. We don't have time for Caramel Palooza and Caramel Elvis. That would be awesome to tell that story.
Caramel Elvis is epic, though.
All right. Well, I want to see this jar. Okay, so is this caramel sauce available on the website?
It will be launched next week. It will be available on the website, www.stcroixchocolateco.com.
What? Croix with an X.
Yeah, Croix, C-R-O-I-X.
Like the fancy water.
Bad French pronunciation.
Like the fancy water.
Yes, or the island.
All right.
So.
You have an Instagram page and you have a Facebook page?
I have an Instagram page, a Facebook page. There's some stuff on Pinterest. God knows what you'll find there.
Everything's available mail order too, right?
Pretty much everything, yes. Pretty
much. You figured the shipping thing out. And then I'm Brian Donaghy. My Instagram is @BrianDonaghy, BrianDonaghy. We're at tomrick.com, where we've got a lot of stuff going on. Our website, I think we're getting a new website in like 60 days. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Ooh.
It's exciting stuff. We're gearing up here in the kitchen to have to do a lot of work. And
that would keep you out of trouble.
You got here, so you know how to get to Tom Rick Instagram page. And Robyn, thank you for joining us. And you've never showed the caramel. Can you hold it up and put it in front? Pick up a jar and put it up like in front of your face, so you can see it. Come on.
All right.
You've got the able-bodied assistant. Look at that. That's
beautiful. See this?
Yes, it's backwards though.
Good.
It's Instagram. Instagram does it. I'm making a joke. It's okay. It looked great.
Here's a pretty pumpkin.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Okay. Thank you for talking with me and putting up with me, Brian.
Love you, Robyn. Be good.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks. And then you
Enjoy
can
that neon green relish.
I will. Thanks a bunch.